Okay, hi guys. We will wait for a few minutes till everyone connects, and then we will start with our agenda. So give us just 1 to 2 minutes. Thank you very much. normálne. Okay, guys, could you please turn on your cameras so we won't be talking to a black screen? Thank you very much. Are here the persons who will be presenting the statements from the Visegrad groups? I'm sorry, from the workshop groups, all here. So from the first workshop group, who is the person responsible for this agenda?
I think we haven't decided on who that's gonna be.
And who was your mentor? Who was the mentor of the first workshop group?
Tomasz, I think.
Okay, so and you are from the first workshop group,
Yeah.
if I'm correct. Okay.
Yes.
So could you please present the statements that you have talked about, or something that you came up with your group during the workshop?
I can attempt to do so. Maybe then my teammates or colleagues can add something to it. We touched upon many different subjects, from the cooperation in the group, nationalism, common interests, clashes, populism, vaccines, the problem with abortions in Poland, misinformation, and much more. So it might be a bit difficult to summarize it. But it was said that during the first wave of the pandemic, the Visegrad group didn't respond cohesively and lost the opportunity to show its strength as it could have, but didn't. And it still can, because the pandemic is still going on. And it is important for it to show that this cooperation has its sense and its meaning. Moreover, these countries cooperate in the areas of science and innovation, but it is not well known to the public, which should be worked on. Then, the awareness should be raised about these issues. We can learn, well, the EU should learn from its states and from other states of the world and respond effectively to the threats it faces. Concerning misinformation and fake news, we talked about how since childhood, children should be educated about history, and then maybe we could prevent the spread of the misinformation. We talked about the possibility of having joint history books, that the countries of the European Union can maybe have a curriculum, or this could be done on the level of the Visegrad group. We also talked about whether that is possible or not. That is still in question. We talked about nationalist tendencies and that it's really hard to fight them. And concerning vaccines, there might be a possibility, or it might be a good thing to create some kind of joint or together working health system some standards of the health system, and maybe some joint purchase of the medical equipment and vaccines. Now I would like to let my colleagues present what they got from our discussion, because we spoke about a lot of issues and I think I haven't really talked about them all. So please.
Okay, thank you very much. So if there is anyone from the first workshop group who would like to add something to what our colleague has said, please feel free to do so right now.
Well, I can just add that, yeah, as she said, we should cooperate more. We, as the group, think we all agreed that there is a need for deeper cooperation. And we also would like both EU and Visegrad group to show more interest and to like stand on the position and be the leaders for making it possible to cooperate deeper.
Thank you very much. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think I would also like to add that we all agreed to some extent that in terms of countermeasures against misinformation and fake news and propaganda and fake propaganda, the whole V4 could work closer together in terms of education. We have different views on how this education could be fostered together. For example, by intensified Erasmus exchanges, or by common work on common school books and school materials. But we generally agree that that education is crucial in terms of struggle against misinformation, and that there is a lot of space, a lot of opportunities for the V4 countries to cooperate in this area.
Okay, thank you very much. Is that all from the first group? If so, I will let the person responsible for this agenda from the second group to present the statement. Who is the person responsible for this agenda from the second workshop group? I believe it was my workshop group, the second one, so I know who is responsible for this agenda. So for the third and last time, please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, you called it second, but you should say your. That was the communication problem. Yeah. So in our workshop group, for the beginning, our introduction was that during the pandemic, we cannot forget about our future, and we should pursue a step like back to normality with intensive cooperation in economy or medicine, because we saw that this pandemic was kind of a missed chance for this deeper cooperation, and it wasn't as intensive as, for example, in the Baltic states. The another thing was that there's some kind of misuse of V4 position, mainly by Hungary and Poland, which we labeled as Trojan horse of the EU, is seen by some countries because of the latest issues regarding Hungary and Poland. And about topics which we talked about or which we discussed in our group was mainly this kind of misbehavior of Hungary and Poland regarding the rule of law and EU budget. And we tried to find an answer for a question if or should be V4 institutionalized to pursue united opinion on, or behavior. And we concluded that there is no such mechanisms to make a member state follow certain kind of rules. And it is because of the nature of the V4 itself. It is not institutionalized and it is more like a discussion club. So if there should be some kind of mechanisms or institutionalization of V4, it is a topic of further debate and of course the willingness of the V4 countries. Another topic we covered was the lack of communication and cooperation among countries. And we tried to answer the question, should V4 countries disallow behavior of the other member, or how will future cooperation look like? And here we described three opinions or outcomes, if you like. The first one was positive. The cooperation will strengthen due to the pandemic. Another approach was neutral one, where the cooperation will remain on the same level between the V4 countries. And also there was a skeptic one, which said that member states will try to individualize their approach regarding V4 cooperation because of the pandemic and in effort to not damage their relations and ties with each other. And the third topic regarding V4, we talk about the medicine and how V4 should approach COVID-19 and vaccine. And we agreed upon that in the regard of the vaccine, V4 should follow EU, since EU has better tools to handle the pandemics. For example, EU is one of the strongest international organizations, has a stronger position to negotiate, and also has better mechanisms regarding planning and logistics of the vaccine. Then we talked also about V4 Plus format, and we discussed if Austria should be included in the V4. On this particular question, we did not find a joint statement. We didn't find agreement because there was this one side where there's a lack of communication channels because Austria is neutral and is not in NATO, lack of common interest, and there are some areas of disagreement, for example, nuclear energy or history. But however, these negative points, some of us think that due to pandemic, V4 lost some of its previous effectivity, and by including Austria, this would bring a new incentives for cooperation and further development of the mutual relations. Another question we were discussing was that if should any other country be included in the V4, and if the V4 Plus format in today's structure is suitable or not. And we agreed that V4 Plus format is suitable. It is not broken, but also need to work. We need to work on this format, and the common partner for this format is not decided upon because, for example, Slovakia and Czech Republic, they focus on finding a strong partner such as Germany, but also there is this focus on smaller countries like Slovenia, or focus on countries in difficult positions, for example, Ukraine or Belarus. But however, the pandemic is still ongoing, and it is too soon to evaluate this question if the V4 Plus format is suitable. And the last question we discussed were where is the V4 heading? And we agreed that development now is really slow. As I mentioned, V format is not broken, but the COVID-19 froze the negotiations and development and a new effort for cooperation and communication is needed to get back on the track. So that is a sum of our very interesting and very fruitful discussion in Group 2, I would say so. Thank you for word, and Mr. President, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I even forgot that that it was this exhausting all these topics in the second workshop group. Okay.
Yeah, you talked a lot, so we covered a lot.
Okay, so the third workshop group, who is the leader of this group who will present the statement? Please go ahead.
So I will present the statement. At the beginning, we agreed that the group needs to diverse its agenda. We choose culture, science, and security as the fields where the cooperation can be developed in the future and can be less risky as the pure political cooperation. But we focus mostly on security, as it's also the topic of this forum. And when it comes to security, we started with army, and we agreed that the joint trainings, battle groups, and sharing know-how can be a good idea for all the countries of the Visegrad group. But we also realized that there is a bit different motivation on organizing any defense against Russia. That Poland is more seems to be more motivated because it shares border with Russia and is just closer. And because of that, we found that the Baltic states, the same as Poland, are also like really committed to organize in this field. So we think that it can be army cooperation can be a field where this group can cooperate with the Baltic states. And even though sometimes Czechia or Hungary do not support the sanctions on Russia as much as Poland, we also agreed that still we are all in the Schengen group, Schengen sphere, and in the European Union, and any danger from Russia would, if something like that happened, would concern all of us. So still, even without the Baltic states, it's a field where we should cooperate. The next one was healthcare, as we also during this forum talk a lot about the current pandemic. And it's also something what first group mentioned, that this pandemic showed that it's a field that can be somehow connected with security. The last one was fighting with disinformation, cyber security. And it's also like, as I remember that first group also was saying something about this. We agreed that the Visegrad countries should work on a common policy to manage with fake news, disinformation, but we were not really sure about the solutions. But we agreed that we as a group should work on that, and together as a bigger group, not as separate countries, should talk about this, for instance, with the Facebook or other great companies. That's all.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, please feel free to discuss the statements that were made right now. If anyone wishes to ask something, add something, if anyone disagrees with something, now the floor is yours. Please go ahead. Okay, I can see that you are all pretty exhausted from today's agenda. So my last question would be that what do you think the name of the workshop group was Quo Vadis V4? Did the COVID-19 make or break the V4 Plus format? So what do you think? Did it make or break the V4 Plus format? Please go ahead. Who wants to start?
In our workshop number 2, we've agreed on that COVID-19 just slowed and froze down the process going on. And so like this.
Okay, thank you very much. This was the participant from the second workshop group. So I would like to hear the opinions of the first and the third workshop group. What do you think? Did it make or break the V4 Plus format?
Personally thinking, when it comes to pandemic, I wouldn't obligatorily seek for the as pandemic as a reason of the crisis or the possible division between the Visegrad member states. The main concerns that are related to the further cooperation between the Visegrad member states are the rule of law and the division of the interests, for instance, regarding the new EU budget and negotiations. Within a week, it will be clear whether the Visegrad member states had a common voice on the European agenda, and it's not clear whether even the pandemic could damage the bond created throughout the years in the partnership.
Okay, thank you very much. Wojciech, you were from the first or the third workshop group?
I was from the first group.
Okay, thank you very much. So third, last but not least, please go ahead. Who wants to start from the third workshop group? And an easy yes or no is enough for me. Did it make or break the V4 Plus format? You need to have an opinion. Just tell me yes or no.
Okay, so I will say more than yes or no, little. In my opinion, it's COVID-19 little breaks us as the organization, because now countries focus on our economies, right? We focus on how to predict the huge economic crisis, how to fight with the COVID, like in the country. And I think that the government don't pay that much, I mean, still pay attention, and still it's like cooperation going, but I think it's less than before, because now we focus on our, let's say, business, how to be as less as we can destroyed, let's say, after this, when we'll go through the whole pandemic, when it will be after pandemic. So I think that it little breaks, I could say like that.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone who wants to add something to anything that was discussed right now?
I would just say that do not expect black and white answers for very complex problems that that require more sophisticated answer. So as already Wojtek said in the group one, we see that there are some opportunities and also threats to the format, and saying that COVID-19, which is still ongoing issue, has already broke or made and the V4 format is a little bit too much. So we need still more time to evaluate.
Okay, thank you.
I think also after even few years, we could say like if the really pandemic time broke the group or made a stronger group, I think it's even we need at least a year or even few years to take a conclusion from that.
Any other
Yeah,
thoughts?
I think we also said that, well, it kind of shows the weaknesses, but also we would like to see people responsible taking a lesson from current situation, and maybe putting more things that we can cooperate on the table, and that it can be beneficial for the future. I think that yeah, in the times when everything is going perfectly fine, we don't learn that much as we do when the times are tough, like nowadays. So maybe it will like show some direction where we should go with the project.
Okay. Anyone else who wants to speak? Okay, if there are no other words, I would like to thank you all for participating in the first day of our conference. I know that you are all pretty exhausted looking at the monitor for the whole day, and I know that it isn't the same as being here in person in Banská Bystrica, but we cannot do anything with this situation right now, sadly, and we try to make it up to you as much as we could. And I hope to see you tomorrow, and have a nice rest of the day. I hope these were all interesting topics for you to discuss. And as I said, see you tomorrow. From the technical information, let me say a few words. There will be some changes in the division of the states given to you for tomorrow's simulation. So we will write any or all the relevant information in the Facebook group as soon as possible. So please just follow the Facebook group as promptly as you can, and you will receive all the information right there. Okay, that's enough from me. Hope you all enjoyed it. Take care and bye. See you tomorrow.
Thank you very
Bye,
much.
see you tomorrow.
See you
Bye.
tomorrow.